Thanks for staying with us. Muhammadu Buhari, the former president of Nigeria, has passed away at the age of 82 in a London hospital. According to his spokesperson, Garba Shehu, who confirmed the development on Sunday with a statement that read, "The family of the former president has announced the passing on of the former president Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, this afternoon in a clinic in London. May Allah accept him in Al-Jannatu." Help me, Enima.
Al-Jannatu
Fidas, yes. Amen. Buhari served as Nigeria's president from 2015 to 2023 and previously ruled as military head of state from 1983 to 1985. What are your thoughts about what we heard yesterday, the news of his passing? What will you remember him for? What would you like to say about him? You can join the conversation and call us on 02016352013 or 09024163440. Tweet us at TVC Connect using the hashtag YourViewTVC. So the news was shocking to me. It was my husband who went to cut his hair that sent me a message on WhatsApp that they said the president has, the former president has died. Have you heard? I said, no, I did not hear. He said, go to your platform. You would hear. And, you know, when I checked it out, I was wondering, I didn't even know when he was ill. You know, there was no news about him. After his tenure as president, he had retired to Daura. His life became, you know, private after a few visits that they made noise about going to visit him in his Daura home. Every other thing was just silent. So when he went to the hospital, he was sick for a long time. Nobody really knew about it. So the news came as a shock that he finally passed on. But let me come to the ladies. What did you think when you heard about it?
I know that we're supposed to only say good things about
the dead.
The dead. So there are two things in my mind. Of course, he has children, he has family, and every one of them mourn the loss of their loved one. And so from that point of view, our hearts and my heart joins them, and I pray for their consolation that God would help them through this journey. There's another side of me that is saying he's 82. The Yoruba girl in me is saying celebration of life. Let's declare Aso-Ebi and go and eat rice. And then the third part of me, the Nigerian who had to deal with the president, then president, and some of the decisions that I'm not pleased with, is like, see you, after everything, disappointment, you are keeping it. Disappointment of death is an appointment all of us would keep. And so regardless of what you did and what you did not do, when you pass, people will talk about what you did not do, how you did it, and how you did right, what you did wrong. So on those three levels, there's a fight in my spirits on which one I should give rein to on the show today, because genuinely, for a man that has lived and served this country as president twice, he should be celebrated for the life and the impact he's had. But for someone who sat under the administration for 8 years and felt there were many things that could have been done better, I can't just sit still and just be celebrating in good conscience. So I'll pass the baton for now. Let the battle continue.
Yeah, so you now pick the side you want to be on. You can even touch on the three sides when we come back to you. Nima.
Thank you.
Okay. I feel very sad for his family. You know, President Buhari looks to me like a very compassionate father. You'd see during his time in office, very beautiful pictures of his girls. And in Islam, when you have girls, you have Jannah. That's the meaning. You raise them properly, you care for girls, you have Jannah. And so he had that very beautiful relationship with his daughters. And I saw a video earlier today of his daughters at the hospital when it was announced. One of them had to come outside to cry out, to scream, to release some pain, and I felt broken just seeing that. You know, I've experienced grief, and I don't think it's a joke. I think it is very immature of anyone to joke about it or mock someone at this time. If you were giving Nigerians, if you were giving your highest revenge for somebody that you think has erred you, what would it be? He is dead.
That's the appointment all of us have.
After that, you know, so may God heal people. You know, we go too far. Twitter was not friendly. He was a human. He had his dreams. You know, I feel personally that President Buhari wanted the democratic office for several reasons. You know, he had to be removed from office through a coup by President Babangida, head of state then.
Military regime.
Under the military regime.
Yeah.
And when he was in office then, he had this total anti-corruption fight. As a young person, he didn't get to full, to naturalize, to live through it or carry it out completely because of the coup. And so he wanted to come back to office, but it's the democratic regime that he came under. So all that corruption fight, he will be met in court several times, which was, and as a lawyer, I must accept that litigation stalls and, impedes a lot of progress. We will sit here sometimes when we see someone, we say, just kill the person, we will sit as jury, judge everything. But in the democratic regime, you will follow due process. You will refer to the National Assembly. States will have their say. Constitutional review alone needs a 2/3 majority for major reviews. And state houses of assembly will have a say. It's the most cumbersome form of government. And he came back under it trying to remedy or finish his earlier plans as head of state. So I just thought he would not really achieve much. And I think towards the end of his second term, he knew it. He was a calmer person, just sit down and leave everybody to face it on their own, which we are seeing today. So he's a human. When you're faced with your own, you just might think it will be this way, that way, that way. So you get in there, you play the politics. Yeah. The office is waiting for you, we play it, there's nothing. So I am more understanding of, what we call his flaws. Having this understanding, except when we want to become a China today, which most Nigerians will never. If it is your lie, we have different definitions. In China, they have only one definition for corruption. Yeah. Only one. Yep. But here, we have misappropriation, misappropriation, extortion. We have different names, and we have classes and grades that we give them. For certain financial fraud, we still have 5 years as a sentence term in our books. In our statutes that our National Assembly have passed. It took forever for them to put a death sentence on kidnapping that results in death in custody. So a lot of things like that, it's our style of governance. And we should be less judgmental, because if you reach your turn, it isn't as easy as that, and it's not really easy. Because I will be waiting to use the law to object to anything. It's everybody's time. He's done his time for whatever errors he has committed. I hope Allah is merciful, because in the afterlife you need that mercy. We believe as Muslims that it's a transition period. The grave is a waiting room of judgment starting immediately. So prayers, your causes don't matter, it will go back to you, really. His children, must live righteous lives following his death, and they must pray for him. Their prayers can change a lot of things for him. That's all that matters. Yeah. And so that's it for me.
Mariam.
For me, I was surprised how I felt so sad, It almost felt quite personal, and I didn't understand it. We've had leaders that have passed on, but you accept it as, okay, we had a leader and passed on. But this one just felt quite, I just knew that yesterday it dampened my spirits, for a bit. And I guess it's just, people are human. And I remember when he was coming the first term, I was among those who was quite, among those that were quite optimistic about what he would do for our country. And eventually, my optimism faded away, But I feel that there's also a time for different types of conversations. And I think for today, the conversation really is about his life and the positive legacy that he's left behind, his family as well, This is a man who was a father, a husband, grandfather, and I know that in many homes right now, people are mourning him. He was a friend, to so many people. And I feel that we can mourn him, honestly, because he was not Hitler, but he had his flaws. And for that, I feel like we have spoken about those flaws many times. We've called him out on some of the things that he should have done better, that he didn't do. But today, for me, I would rather use today to mourn the man that served our country as a military head of state and also as democratically elected president. I remember him for, just especially in the first term, which was, there was just so much positivity then. We were looking forward to so much more. I celebrate him also for the lessons that I have learned, for the sort of person that I want to support, you know, to sit in the office of the president. It opened my eyes. You know, I felt that I was quite naive in the beginning in that era, but I felt I learned a lot from the positives as well as from his flaws. So for me, really today is that my heart goes out to his family, and may his soul rest in peace.
Yeah. So, you know, when I heard the story, it also broke me in a sort of way I didn't understand, because nobody really wishes for death. You know, everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. Yeah, and so when you hear that somebody has passed on, it just reminds you that, this life is fleeting. All the things that we are dragging, all the things that we are fighting about, at the end of the day, we will go how we came. He died without any of his, you know, properties. They are going to bury him without clothes based on his religion. And it just reminds me of the futility of life, that everything, this is more like, yes, this is more like a school we are passing through. We are just passing through, and when it's your time, when your expiration date comes, you would have to go. So I was just ruminating about death, and you know, it's a conversation that many of us really don't like to have. We just want to focus in our heads. When we focus more on life, we will not die. But everybody has an expiration date that we don't remember. So if you like, focus more on life. When your expiration date comes back, you would go. And that is exactly what happened. And I know that right now the family members would, you know, be feeling really bad about their loss. You know, there's something the scripture says that we should mourn like those who, we should not mourn like those who do not have hope. We should always remember that there's life after this person. And, you know, according to the different religions, there are different places that he would have gone to right now, waiting for judgment and all of that, depending on what they believe in. And that's what should remind us when we are mourning, so that we don't mourn like we are hopeless and helpless, right? And I think that should be the mood. I think, personal opinion, that should be the mood that many Nigerians should carry on right now. Going back, reviewing our lives. What does this life mean for us? What exactly, how do we begin to live our lives in such a way that when we go, you know, there's a legacy that we have left behind. There are certain things that people will say about us when we are no longer there. And I know that one should not concern you after you have gone, but, you know, live your life in such a way that, you know, many people will not be so conflicted as to what do I say, how do I stand.
It's impossible.
Yeah, so
it's impossible.
So that's one.
No human being dies, and you will not see two sides of.
Yeah, I also wanted to ask,
no human
Nima,
being.
let me land this question so that you respond. When do you think is the right time? Because I listened to the radio coming this morning, and the criticisms were not here. It was tough. People were talking. They were insulting, you know. And I'm asking myself, when is the right time for us to discuss our past leaders, their past successes and their failures? Is it at the time of death that we bring all of this to the fore? Or should we have time and time again where we review them even while they are living, so that when they die, like you rightly said, there's a time to have certain conversations? But I'll take this response when we come back after the short break. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.